Friends, welcome back. We have a very exciting update for you here. We have Andy Hoffman back on the line from Miles Franklin. And Andy, as you've been following the news, or should I say the fake news, I guess we're all fake newsers at this point. YouTube has now declared war on content creators by deeming so many of the videos that we do as being not advertiser friendly. Big Brother is alive and well. Andy, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. It's on this day before the Fed finally puts its foot in its mouth for the last time this year. And, I couldn't agree more. It's a very, very Orwellian world. I never could have thought, even a few years ago, that my worst case scenario would be playing out right in front of me, which for many people in the world, look at the people in India and parts of Europe, South America, Turkey, lots of other places, it already is. And I fear that 2017 is going to be the beginning of the end of the Western world as we knew it.
Well, I want to actually begin with India because it's easy to lose track of that story. I don't think that there's anything more tyrannical than what Modi did with his cash ban, essentially. And, the reaction in the gold market, I was looking at Bullion Star today, reading an article from November 9th, was that at one point gold in some places in India traded as high as $2,240, I believe. The gold price went through the roof if you could even find physical gold. And now I hear that they're going house to house and trying to seize gold. What is this, Andy? Is this the model for what's coming to our shores?
Yeah, in fact, today I think what's his name, Jim Rickards is putting out another article about the what he calls the war on gold. First, it's the war on cash, and now the war on gold. The problem is just like anything. You tell a child they can't have something, they want it. You tell an adult they can't have something and want it. And if you tell someone that they can't have the only means of protecting themselves from what everyone knows is coming, they're going to go to great lengths to do so. It's not the first time that governments have tried to slow the purchases or ownership of gold and silver. Even in China now, there's importation quotas that have been put up. And guess what? Like in India, the premiums are at all-time highs. The only time we ever saw them even close was after the big alternative currencies destruction smash in April 2013. So again, all they're going to do by trying to slow down the buying is they're going to make people want it more. They're going to have the black markets develop like they already have in India at a faster rate. And of course, the reason they're doing this is because the actions they want to take are going to devalue the currencies further. In India, for instance, the rupee was sitting right at about its all-time low as this started, as the Chinese yuan is basically at its all-time lowest peg. And as soon as it goes through 7 to the dollar, which it may well do, the second that the dollar has the next surge up, you're going to see the same kind of thing. You're going to see a surge in demand. And, you look at my article today that I just put out. It's called The Most Important and Gold Bullish Chart You'll Ever See. I finally found what I was looking for, a chart that's predicting, this is from the S&P, from Standard & Poor's, the gold production profile for the next decade, in which gold will fall 20%. It already started falling this year, and as did silver, and it's going to fall 20% in the next decade, no matter what happens to the price. So again, you're going to talk about a time where currencies are devalued more than ever before, because again, last week's article I wrote was 2017, the year of money printing, and it's really going to get started then, and people are going to be desperate to protect their savings, and it's going to be at a time where, kind of like Bitcoin, there's going to be less and less of it available for you to buy.
What occurs to me, and I've mentioned this in past interviews here, is that what's going on in India, and I think is coming here, this banning of cash, causing people to turn to gold, and then in turn they want to seize the gold, is exactly feudalism. It will be the key to turning us all into serfs. And I just don't think there's anything more disgusting than what's going on in India. And I find it very troubling because, as you know, now the move is on to ban cash in Australia. You've got Larry Summers talking about banning the $100 bill here. And they always lie to the people. They always say it's to curb corruption. This would be great for the people because it would put an end to corruption when we know the money laundering is happening by the big international banks, the narcotics money laundering. This is 1984 come to life that we're living in now. I feel like black is white, up is down. They lie to us constantly. They call truth media, fake news. Where does this all end? Now we have the Fed meeting later this week, and they're going to be forced to do a pathetic 25 basis point rate increase, as you've just written in your article, History's Largest Bubble and Anti-Bubble. Meanwhile, the market's already up 75 basis points in the actual markets, so they're in a box. And I guess at the end of the day, Andy, they're just going to seize all our cash anyway and turn us into serfs. I mean, how do we extricate ourselves from this tyrannical system?
Right. And, again, 5 years ago, I wrote an article everyone could Google called Priceless Precious Metals versus Worthless Dollars, in which I answer kind of all the what if questions, such as, well, what if they confiscate? What if they windfall tax? And the point is that governments only do things in reaction. They are never proactive. So I assure you that Modi is doing this because he sees how bad things are getting in India and how desperate he is to maintain power there. So he's trying to, grab the power and grab the money, and it won't work. I mean, first of all, India's going to have a bloody revolution. I wrote 2 years ago an article called The World's Worst Government, 2 years ago. And that was about India, because I knew that this was going to happen. I've called it the financial apartheid many times. We have a handful of paper-loving government trying to rule 1.5 billion people who hate paper money and love gold. And they've run the paper into the ground. It's the rupee's at an all-time low right now. And now the people are going to do anything to get the gold. This is going to end with a bloody revolution. There's not a doubt in my mind. And it's going to also end with an explosion of gold demand at a time, as I said, where there's just not any out there. And as for cashless societies around the world, absolutely. The reason governments are doing this is because they're scared. I mean, they see what's going on with Trump and with the Brexit and the ITAL exit and what's coming in France and all what's going to happen in India soon, all these things. And they are in a desperate power grab right now. And it's not going to work. In the short term, it can be very painful for those who are stuck in the crosshairs. Although, frankly, I'm really not a heck of a lot too worried about gold, given how much demand there is right now and how much money printing is going on and the pace of political change. But generally speaking, again, you talk about a feudal society. If there was a 1% before, that's quickly going to become the 0.1%. And we're in this last blow-off. There's no doubt in my mind what's going on now is the last blow-off stage of, as I wrote yesterday, history's largest bubble, because we're talking about valuations of stocks now above any time in history. I mean, above in many ways the 1999 tech stock bubble, except all those previous times where we had valuations like this, 1987 and 1929, 2008. I mean, these were boom times. There was much less debt. The economies were doing well. There was world peace for the most part. I mean, we're talking about the worst of currencies were stable. We're talking about the worst of all these things, these situations is occurring right now. And they've blown up this bubble of confidence and hype based on absolutely nothing. Certainly, you talk about a fake meme of Trumpflation. I mean, remember a week before, the months before the election, it was the opposite. God forbid he should win. It would be because Hillary's got to win. That's good for stocks and bad for gold. And now they've created this thing how he's going to do this mythical stimulus, which isn't going to happen. I mean, you look, his own Republicans are saying it ain't going to happen. And even if he did, it wouldn't matter anyway. And so I think once this honeymoon ends pretty soon, likely the way interest rates are exploding and currencies are plunging, we're going to be right back into the kind of conditions that caused 2017 to be the year of money printing. And there's going to be a lot of terrifying political and economic and, potentially military changes, things like with what's going on in India.
Well, you're absolutely right, Andy. And just, to circle back on this Orwellian meme that is rolling out at rapid pace here. Congress just quietly passed a bill targeting, quote-unquote, Russian propaganda websites. And I'm sure you saw that Washington Post article, which featured some think tank called Prop or Not, which had listed over 200 websites, including Activist Post, Drudge Report, Zero Hedge, the Ron Paul Report, Paul Craig Roberts, and even SGT Report was on this list of websites that they claim have been either used directly or covertly by the Russians to spread propaganda. Andy, that's how Orwellian it's getting now. If they don't like the information being shared by those of us in the alternative media, the truth media, the antithesis to what people get at CNN or Washington Post or New York Times, they're just going to shut us down. Google's already changing the algorithms, making it less likely that truth media websites come up in the results, making it less likely for the sheeple to find our information, making it less likely for the people to learn about silver and gold to protect themselves. I don't know if Trump is going to reverse this thing, Andy. I feel like this is going to be pushed through while Obama's still in there. He'll sign it. It's called H.R. 6393, Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2017. And I just think it spells how far gone this country is. And our only hope would be that Trump would dismantle this type of Orwellian tyranny.
No, he's not going to change anything. I mean, I do believe that deep down he's a good intentioned man, but he's now already been co-opted as a mainstream politician. Obviously, not as in that severe camp like these crazy liberals or before him the neocons. But he's hired a whole bunch of people around him who are not going to change anything. And frankly, he's as levered personally to the status quo as anybody. So I don't really see much change on that end. And once people realize that the rhetoric he ran on, look, I was his biggest supporter simply to get Hillary to lose. But the day after he came in, I did a long audio blog called "Taking Down Trump," where I said he's not going to do a single thing he said because he can't. There's no fiscal stimulus coming. There's none that would matter even if it was coming. There's going to be no repeal of Obamacare, and certainly there's going to be no attempt to muzzle the forces that are keeping him as one of the 0.1% and everyone else the 99.9. Although I'm much happier to have him there than Hillary Clinton, that's for sure. So no, we're going to have to rely on economic mother nature and the unstoppable tsunami of reality. It's won, throughout the world. It's been winning the day for years on end right now. We're talking about crashing currencies and economies and political regime changes around the world. And so here, look, it's starting here. People, they may ban all this media content, but the fact is everyone knows about it. That's why Trump won. That's why Alex Jones has become mainstream. And that's why, for instance, Miles Franklin Report has more readers than ever. So I'm not really worried that people aren't going to find the truth. It's just a matter of we're going to have to get through some difficult times where the government becomes more draconian. And you have to protect yourself before they get draconian. You have to, for instance, have your gold before they want it. Because believe me, if they're, quote, like in India, going door to door and saying your quotas and how much you can own, they're doing it not because they don't want the people to be rich. It's because they want to be rich. They know they're destroying their rupee and they want what's of value. And, not that it's going to be easy for them to do that, but the fact is that they want gold because it's valuable. Just like, China, the Chinese government for years has been buying gold because they know it's valuable. So, in times where currencies, we're at as I call it, the final stage of history's largest, most destructive, and for the first time global fiat Ponzi scheme, I mean, you have to prepare beforehand, financially and otherwise, because there's no way that these trends are going to reverse until the whole system goes down and has to start over again from something real, which, may take a long time to happen, but in many places it's already happened.
All right, well, I want to ask you this then. In a world that is upside down and very Orwellian, where black is white, war is peace, etc., how in the world do we ever get justice when we know that the Deutsche Bank and UBS traders are manipulating silver? There was that great article from Alan Flynn, guest over at Bullion Star recently, How to Trigger a Silver Avalanche with a Pebble. And it's documented. We know they laugh at how they steal from people through manipulating the prices of silver and gold. One UBS trader to one Deutsche Bank trader. The emails are out there. It's just like finding out some of the people in the highest levels of our government might be involved in child trafficking, and nothing gets done about it. So here we have this wide open secret now. Everyone knows that they've manipulated the prices of silver literally illegally, and I don't think anything's being done about it. Is anything going to change, Andy? How do we get justice?
I don't care about justice, Sean. My goal is to protect myself and my family personally, and hopefully my readers from what's coming. That's the only justice that I'm really focused on right now. And the fact is, these people are never going to get in trouble for it. But more importantly, everyone knows about it. It is definitely mainstream, and I assure you, the big money around the world is well aware of this stuff, or will be very shortly. That's gone on with Deutsche Bank and others that we've been talking about for years. And, they're going to see that the price is probably lower than it should be, and the value investors are going to swoop right in and take it. Remember, we already have historically low inventories out there, and production is now declining. And again, if anyone wants to get worried about, they're going to confiscate gold, read my article last week about silver demand is about to explode because if there was any kind of play to try to slow down gold buying, well, guess what people are going to buy? Silver. They're already doing it in India. God, the premium for silver in China, forget India, in China is about 12% right now. It's like $1.60 per ounce over the paper price. So people are going to want it because it's very valuable and very scarce. And so one way or the other, precious metal holders are going to win so long as they hold the real stuff and they hold it in a manner that cannot be taken from them.
Hmm. I'm actually excited about a new coin that's being released here. It was supposed to come out here in December, I thought. It was Steve St. Angelo who made me aware that the silver Cougarand is coming. And I've just always thought gold Cougarands are beautiful, and now they're going to offer the silver Cougarand. Have you heard about that? Are you guys going to be stocking that, carrying that, or what's your thoughts on a 1 ounce silver Cougarand?
I mean, we stock, we have everything. Whatever you want to buy, sell, trade, or store, we can do. I mean, I don't really have that much interest in that coin relative to all the other great coins out there, but just another addition to a diversified portfolio, I guess.
I get this email from time to time. People who find out about this information and want to buy silver for the first time, they'll say, "What do you suggest? Rounds, bars, coins? What's your favorite?" And I always respond that I no longer do the little bars or the rounds. I prefer paying the slight premium to get a government issued coin. I like the Perth Mint stuff. I like the Royal Canadian Mint stuff. And of course, I like the U.S. Mint stuff, the American Eagles. What are your thoughts? Do you have a favorite coin? What do you recommend for newbies?
Right, I pretty much agree. Look, what I own personally is 1 ounce coins, and probably 99% of our business at Miles Franklin for decades is 1 ounce coins, and most of that is government minted coins. So, look, if you're starting out a portfolio, I would recommend, as you said, yes, the most liquid coins out there, like the Maples and the Eagles, the Philharmonics. There's a couple out there, Australia. And then if you want to build around that, you could certainly buy rounds like, let's say, Silver Buffaloes that are a little cheaper but a little less liquid. And but I would avoid pretty much anything that's not 1 ounce because it's either going to pay too much for a lower denomination or it's going to be too illiquid if it's a higher denomination. So generally speaking, I would stick to 1 ounce coins, whether you're talking about both gold or silver.
All right, and let's just round out the conversation here as we end with your thoughts on Japan. You've been saying for a long time that we will see Japan hyperinflate before any other modern Western nation. How close are we to the precipice in terms of hyperinflation, either in Japan, in the EU, given the challenges there, or here in this country?
Well, again, right? I mean, it's all about fear. When people are fearful, they buy the dollar because of its superior liquidity. And right now, we're in the middle of a major fear crisis because the dollar has surged to multi-year highs and currencies have been crashing around the world, including the yen, which maybe the government says that they want that, but the proof shows that the weak yen has not helped them at all. They have kind of record trade deficits now. They don't even have surpluses anymore. And now they're having a huge amount of inflation. In fact, since the last month or so, the yen has fallen 15%, and they already have one of the highest costs of living, despite the government claiming they have all this deflation out there. So, you have any kind of fear, and frankly, the Fed is primed to make that fear increase if they are not careful what they say, if they are too hawkish, which is ironic because, as you said, and as I've been talking about forever, the bond vigilantes have taken rates up 75 basis points already. So when they go up 25 basis points, that's kind of like an ease. But if they talk too tough and they instigate another kind of market sell-off at a time where we're talking about record valuations of stocks and currencies are near their record low valuations, you could really start a sell-off in the global currency markets, which could really get started the ball finally rolling down the hill much more rapidly in a place like Japan, which is the weak link in the chain. I mean, to me, they're not economically a first world nation anymore, and with all that debt out there and this demographic situation worse than anybody else, they are ripe for something really, really draconian and terrible to occur to their currency.
All right, guys. Well, you know what? If you want to protect yourselves with precious metals, I'll tell you what, when you get your first shipment of silver, if you've never had it, and you hold it in your hand, it really does change you. It makes you realize how precious it is, how rare it is, because none of your friends, neighbors, and colleagues, probably not even your parents, maybe your grandpa had some silver coins, but nobody has this stuff anymore. Very few, less than 1%, probably less than half of 1% of the population has gold and silver. Wouldn't you say, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. Just go to your local coin shop and get one silver round, and then hold a quarter or a dime in your hand, and you'll see the difference of how one is quite obviously worthless and one is priceless. And it won't be too long before those rarities and shortages and premium increases that we're seeing in many places around the world come here, because no one is. I mean, we may be more immune than the rest of the world because of our printing press, but our printing press has exported all the inflation that's going to come back with a flourish in the coming months and years. And I mean, that's what the bond market is starting to discount. Unfortunately, the Fed's only recourse is going to be to print more money, because that's the only way to prevent things from collapsing immediately.
Yeah, and guys, I would just say this too, if you're new, maybe start with a tube of 20 silver American Eagles. It has a denomination right on it. I think it's considered actual money by the U.S. government. I don't know how they could ever seize it. So, Andy, if anybody wants to do that and take advantage of your services, how do they contact you?
That's right, Miles Franklin. We're finishing our 27th year in business without a single registered complaint. I write every day for free and do podcasts like this all for free, milesfranklin.com. And you can call us at 800-822-8080. And of course, you can email me at ahoffman@milesfranklin.com.
All right, and there you have it. That's Andy Hoffman from Miles Franklin. Andy, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And guys, thank you for your support. We appreciate you tuning in for fake news, evidently. No, that's not true. It's true news, real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda 24/7 at sgtreport.com. Bye-bye.
Friends, this thing called the United States is a corporation. You think you live in a country. I'm telling you, you don't. You are considered to be corporate commercial inventory. You have to understand that.